In this lecture, we're going to be taking a look at stored procedures. Stored procedures are a type of database object in Microsoft SQL Server that allows you to encapsulate a sequence of SQL statements and procedural logic into a single unit. They are pre-compiled and stored in the database, which can improve performance by reducing network traffic and enhancing code reuse. This is because your execution plan is cached, so when you execute the stored procedure, it will use the cached one. Alright, so don't worry too much about execution plan because that's more advanced stuff, that's more database administration. And if you're gonna be a data analyst, you won't necessarily need to understand how to read the execution plan, but it's good to be aware of the benefits of a stored procedure. So basically, the execution plan is the path the SQL Server take to return your result. So instead of sending hundreds of lines of code, it's better to use a stored procedure so that you can call a single statement rather than writing a complex statement and sending it over the network. So let's look at a simple example of a stored procedure, right? You have the create procedure clause followed by the stored procedure name. Now a stored procedure can accept a parameter. In this case, we're accepting a customer ID. Now it's important to note that a stored procedure may or may not accept a parameter. It can also accept multiple parameters. We're accepting a customer ID, and then if you notice, all you have after that is the begin and end clause which wrap the set of SQL statements together. So for the stored procedure, basically you have to use the begin and end, right? And then within the begin and end, you specify the statements that you want to execute. So the stored procedure is simply accepting a customer ID and then returning all the customer information based on the ID provided. Now to execute a stored procedure, you use the execute command. You can use the shortened form exec or spell out the word execute. You specify the stored procedure name, and in a case where it accepts parameter, then you specify the parameter and then you assign the value to that parameter. So let's head over to our best friend Management Studio to look at a practical example. So this example is from the lecture where we spoke about the begin and the end, right? And all we're doing was to find the max person ID and the minimum person ID based on the ID we specified. Now all of this can be encapsulated in a stored procedure and now become a reusable code. So now instead of having the ID within the stored procedure, we can now pass this ID as a parameter to the stored procedure, right? So to begin, we're going to have the keyword create procedure, right? Or we could say create proc. Here you're going to specify the name for your procedure. I'm just going to call it max. I'm just going to call it max min, and I will be accepting a parameter as integer, right? So I'm going to say at, and I will be accepting the ID as an integer. So here I have a squiggly. This is saying, hey, the syntax is half. So now I need to specify my open and close brackets, right? So here I have a little red squiggly at the begin. That means it's saying my syntax is off. So now I need to specify has to remove the squiggly. Now here you can see that, hey, the variable ID has already been declared. Variable names must be unique within a query, batch, or procedure. So we no longer need this ID here. And in this statement, what we're doing is that we're getting the max ID. So here, what we're doing is that we're getting the max ID from the person table and initializing the ID variable. So now that we're passing in the ID, we no longer need this statement here, right? So let's take it out. And just for demonstration purposes, I'll be keeping this block here. Now let's execute this block of code. Now if you expand your database, expand programmability, expand stored procedures, you should be able to see the stored procedure you just created. So here it's called sp_maxmin. To execute this procedure, you'll use the execute keyword. You can shorten it as exec, right? So I'm going to specify execute, stored procedure name, and you can specify the variable and set the value of the variable here. So let's execute this statement. So we can see that it's just saying the max person ID is 10, even though this is not logically correct because we just specify the ID, right? And the second statement is saying The minimum person ID is 1. So this is how you will create a stored procedure. Now from the application, all the application need to do is literally specify this line of code depending on the syntax of that calling application. The stored procedure call may be different, right? But essentially, this is what will be executed at the database level. So instead of sending all of this from the application, you now only send this from the application. You could also execute the store procedure without explicitly stating the variable name. So let me copy and paste this. Now let's remove the parameter name. Now let's just execute. And as you can see, we got the same result. So let's say we have 10 persons in the organization and they all want to find the max ID. So instead of rewriting that code every time, they just execute a stored procedure to find the max ID, right? So you can execute a stored procedure using the code or from the graphical user interface. So under stored procedures, right click the stored procedure that you want to execute and then select execute stored procedure. Here you specify the value that you want to pass as the parameter. So I'm going to say 1660, right? And then select OK. So no result was found for that ID. So don't worry about this return value for now. You'll learn about it later. To alter a stored procedure, you'll use the alter command. So let's make the stored procedure a bit more meaningful by altering it, right? So I'm going to copy and paste. So instead of saying create, I'm going to use the word alter. So don't mind the name of the stored procedure now. I'm just demonstrating how to alter it. So what I'm going to use the stored procedure now to do is to list the person details with the specified ID. So for the print statement, I'm just going to say the person ID and print the person ID which was provided. And here I'm going to get rid of the begin because it's not required here, right? So for the select statement, I'm going to use a select asterisk to select all from the person where business entity ID is equal to the ID parameter. Now please keep in mind that whenever you're doing stored procedures or writing queries, only return the values that you want in your query. This will significantly improve the performance of your query. The reason why I'm using select asterisk is just for demonstration purposes only. But whenever you're doing this for actual production or writing queries, make sure you specify the columns that you need. So here I'm going to execute the script to alter the procedure. Now let's execute the stored procedure. I'm going to use this option. As you can see, it returned the person with the business entity ID and all their information. Now, a procedure can take multiple parameters, right? So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to be creating a stored procedure that return all the persons who is an employee. That means their employee type is EM and they have a business entity ID that is greater than 100. Alright, so to do this, we can create the structure of our stored procedure first. Create proc. I'm going to call this SP person and it takes 2 parameters. I'm going to specify the ID for business entity ID, and to specify the second parameter, you specify a comma, right? So I'm going to say ID, and the second one is person type. So I'm just going to say PT for person to type. Now I need to say as and specify begin, and then we have the end, right? So we have to ensure that we end our procedure. Now within the begin, we need to specify our select statement. So I'm just going to grab the square from above. So it's where the business entity ID is greater than the ID is specified and the person type is equal to at PT. If no record is found, I want to display a statement say, hey, no record is found. So how can we do this? So we have learned about the if statement. So we have learned about the if statement previously, and we have learned about the row count, right? Which is a system variable in SQL Server. So I'm going to say if at row count is equal to 0, then I'm going to print no result found. Or should I say no record found? So I'm going to print no record found. Now let's execute this statement to create the procedure. Now I need to execute the procedure. I'm going to say EEXE. Now let's execute the procedure by typing the execute command. Remember, you can shorten it as EXEC, name of the procedure and the parameters that we want to pass. So I'll be passing 200 as the parameter, and for the parameter PT, I'll be passing EM. So now let's execute this procedure. Now let's check the messages. So no record was found. However, if we query the person table, However, if we do a query on the person table, we'll see that there are data matching the criteria. So let's scroll down. So I specify the ID of 200 and we have employees or business entity ID with ID of greater than 200 and person type of EM, right? So that means something must be off. So if you look carefully, for PT, I specified varchar. But if you look carefully when I hover over varchar, it's saying the data type is varchar, and in the bracket it's saying 1. So basically, when I specify EM as a parameter, the data is truncated. So basically what is being passed to the stored procedure is E and not EM. So you have to be mindful of this when you're using varchar. So to fix this, we need to alter the procedure and specify the length of the varchar. So in this case, I'm just going to say 5, right? And I'm going to alter the procedure. Now let's execute. Now let's execute the store procedure again. And now you can see that we have data being returned. If we check the messages, we're seeing it saying that 73 rows was affected. So in this example, we looked at the input parameter. We also have what is called the output parameter. This is used to get result or output from a stored procedure. So let's say we want to find the maximum ID in the table, right? And we want to return that to the calling person. So what we can do is create a stored procedure with the output parameter. So we're going to call this procedure find max, right? So it's sp find max. So in my brackets, I'm going to specify my output parameter. So I'm going to declare max as int. And how we specify that it's an output parameter, we specify the keyword output. So that will be the only difference. When compared to the stored procedure with the input parameter. So now that we have defined the skeleton of our stored procedure, we now need to specify the queries that will find the max record in the person table. So when you're naming your procedures, it's good to use names that are self-documented. So I'm just going to say here max person, right? So I'm just going to say select business entity ID from person table. So let's execute this portion of the query to test it and ensure everything is working fine. So now I'm going to create a procedure. So in order to get the value of this max variable when the procedure is executed, I now need to declare a variable and assign the output parameter to that variable, right? So here I'm going to say declare max. Now the next step is to execute the procedure. So we will use it just like how we use input parameter, but at the end of it, we're going to say output, right? So let's see this in action. So it's execute sp underscore find max person, right? And here I'm going to say at max. Now, as you can see, the IntelliSense is suggesting it, right? And it's telling you the type and what you should specify for the output. So this is the syntax, right? You have the execute, the procedure name, the variable that you want to assign the output value to, and then you specify the output keyword. Now the last step is to print the output value, and we can do this using the print function. So now let's execute all of this together, and you can see that we have a result of 27.7. Now if you try to execute the procedure without specifying the output parameter, you will get an error. So let's try this, execute. You can see that procedure or function find max person expect max parameter, which was not specified. So for the input parameter, you have to specify the value that you are passing into the function, right? And for the output parameter, you have to specify the value that you want to catch the output from that stored procedure. So to summarize, stored procedures provide a way to encapsulate complex logic, improve performance, and enhance security by granting permissions only on stored procedures rather than individual tables or views. They are commonly utilized for tasks such as data manipulation, business logic implementation, and report generation within SQL databases.